Today is Wednesday, December 18th, 2024. We are officially a week out from Christmas, but Christmas comes early for the New York Yankees today. They acquire Cody Bellinger from the Chicago Cubs straight up. Well, not so much straight up. They acquire Cody Bellinger and $5 million from the Chicago Cubs for right-handed pitcher Cody Poteet, which it's sounding like a win-win for both sides. The Cubs get a young, promising right-hander. You could use him in the bullpen. You could use him as a starter. The Yankees get a power-hitting juggernaut bat when he's great. They just have to take on the remaining $22.5 million on this year's contract and for the next 2 years, really, for Cody Bellinger if he opts to stay in. Cody Bellinger has an opt-out on his side if he wants to opt out at the end of 2024. If not, the Yankees have him for 2 years, 2025 and 2026. I think it's a win-win. You lose out on Juan Soto. Ever since then, the Yankees have not felt bad for themselves. They've picked themselves up. They've dusted themselves off. They got the best pitching free agent on the market, Max Fried, 8 years, $218 million. They go out and get the best closer out on the trade market in Devin Williams for Nestor Cortez and Caleb Durbin. And now you go out and make a big trade after you weren't able to land Kyle Tucker because the price was just too damn high for Brian Cashman. You go out and you get Cody Bellinger from the Chicago Cubs. Now you got a center fielder and a first baseman, depending on where you want to play him. It obviously seems like the Yankees want to play Cody Bellinger in center field. You have him protect Aaron Judge in the middle part of that lineup. But what do you do next? You still have to fill second base, potentially third base, and first base. Your infield's looking a little bit shady right now. Right now, at first base, you have Oswaldo Cabrera. At second base, you have Oswald Peraza. And at third base, you have Jazz Chisholm Jr. I don't love that. What else can you do after signing Cody Bellinger to the deal that you're going to sign Cody Bellinger to? Cody Bellinger, best case scenario, hits 40 plus home runs in 2025. Worst case scenario, he hits 230, doesn't muster 20 home runs. Last year, he only hit 18 home runs. The year before that, he hit over 300 and had an all-star season. He was the NL Comeback Player of the Year in 2023 for the Cubs. It depends what type of player you get with Cody Bellinger. It depends what type of Cody Bellinger that you get. He's a 2019 NL Most Valuable Player, World Series champion in 2020 for the Los Angeles Dodgers, hit like multiple huge home runs for the Dodgers in that postseason with nobody in the stands. Was a great, great year for Cody Bellinger. I want that Cody Bellinger at Yankee Stadium with his swing, with his launch angle. He could be a dominant threat. Nobody's going to be Juan Soto, but it's a great trade for Brian Cashman, considering what you gave up in that trade, which essentially Cody Poteet has a very promising future. Don't get me wrong, but the Yankees have a lot of pitching depth, so it's not really a big loss for the Yankees in that sense. And on the Cubs side, they had to get rid of an outfielder because now they have way too much depth in their outfield after acquiring Kyle Tucker. So you get rid of that money. You take on $5 million in that contract in 2025 for Cody Bellinger. Second base, third base, first base. Christian Walker's name has been thrown around. Pete Alonso's name has been thrown around. Carlos Santana's name has been thrown around. Paul Goldschmidt's name has been thrown around for the Yankees at first base. I think Christian Walker has always been the favorite at first base. He has won back-to-back-to-back NL Gold Gloves in the National League for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Hits for a ton of power. Again, a right-handed bat in Yankee Stadium. I've never loved it. You have a few really, really good right-handed bats in Yankee Stadium, though, in Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge. I like Christian Walker, even if it's for a 3-year deal, which I think is what he's looking to get. Pete Alonso is interesting just in the fact that the Mets tore out our hearts by getting Juan Soto. Why not take the heart and soul of the New York Mets by getting Pete Alonso for a couple of years? I like Carlos Santana. It would be a 1-year rental. Paul Goldschmidt would also be a 1-year rental for the Yankees. I like that. At second base, as much as I didn't think I was going to say this out loud at any point during this offseason, at second base, unless you want to go the route of Peraza or Cabrera at second, I think you bring back Glaber, man. I don't think there's any trade value out right now in the trade market. There's definitely no options on the free agent market as of right now. Gleyber Torres, to use an analogy, it's like the last girl at the dance. Who's going to ask her out, right? I think the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim offered Gleyber Torres a pretty sizable deal. He flat out said no. Doesn't want to go to the West Coast, apparently. He wants to stay on the East Coast. He wants to have spring training in Florida, not Arizona. The Washington Nationals have expressed interest in Gleyber Torres to potentially play third base instead of second base. So, I mean, Gleyber Torres has maybe take a year or two with the Washington Nationals, prove to be a good third baseman, which proves his value as kind of a flexible option, both at second and third. That really ups his value in the market before maybe he gets a big deal down the line. But I don't think Brian Cashman wanted him back. I don't think the Yankees brass wanted him back. Gleyber Torres has proven to not hustle. He has proven to not be a good defender at second base. Statistically, the worst second baseman in all of baseball. I know Aaron Boone would defend him night and day, saying that he's not, as the Yankees brass probably would. Brian Cashman said that second base, they have to improve this offseason at second base. And when they say they have to improve this offseason at second base, they're pretty much saying we have to improve at second base because Gleyber Torres shat the bed. Because Gleyber Torres basically was their second baseman. You can't really argue that. Gleyber Torres was the guy playing second base, and they need to improve at second base. But if you can get Gleyber Torres on a 1-year deal for like whatever his qualifying offer was, I think his qualifying offer was $21 million. If you can get him for $20 million, even $15 million for 1 year, why would you not re-sign Gleyber? Bring him back. He was a great leadoff man in the postseason. Hit for power, drives and runs. A nice leadoff guy. Go Gleyber, Bellinger, Judge, 1, 2, 3 potentially. Why not? I'm like I said, it's the last girl at the dance. He turned down the Los Angeles Angels. He's toying. He's flirting with the Washington Nationals. You know he wants to be a Yankee for life. Let's give him one more shot. That's who I think that the Yankees should go with at second base because I don't think you have any other plausible option that's really sexy and attractive. Gleyber Torres is. Volpe's going to play short. And I think if you re-sign Gleyber Torres, you just move Jazz Chisholm Jr. back to third where you had him play when you acquired him back in July from the Miami Marlins. And he was a really good third baseman. So you have Chisholm at third, Volpe at short, Gleyber at second, Walker potentially at first, Walker, Alonso. Like I said, Carlos Santana maybe for a 1-year rental if you don't want to spend there. You have Cody Bellinger as an option still at first base if you wanted to do Jazz Chisholm at third, Volpe at short, Gleyber Torres at second, and Bellinger at first. And then you go sign one of the available outfielders, Anthony Santander, ladies and gentlemen, breaking news today, has followed the Yankees on Instagram. I don't know if that means jack shit to anybody. I think it means more than, unfortunately, we want it to, or fortunately, depending if you want Anthony Santander, hit 44 home runs this year for the Baltimore Orioles. You take him away from your biggest competition in division, the Baltimore Orioles. 44 home runs at Camden Yards. What does that equal to at Yankee Stadium? A left-handed bat. Not really a great defender. He'd probably play left field. You put Santander in left. You put Jason Dominguez in center. You put Judge in right. And then you move Cody Bellinger from center field to first base. That's not a bad outlook. Your defense definitely didn't improve, but your overall offensive lineup 1 through 9 is way better than it's been in probably the last 5 years if you do that. You go Gleyber at second, you go Anthony Santander in left, you go Judge in right, you go Bellinger at first, you go Giancarlo Stanton as your DH, you go Chisholm at third base, you go Volpe at short, Wells is your catcher, and who does that leave? That leaves Dominguez in center field. That's a good lineup. That's a lineup I can ring out there 1 through 9 every single day. Trent Grisham's probably still going to be on your bench because the Yankees picked up his option for $5 million. I don't know why, but they did. You have Trevino backing up Austin Wells, and then you just add some pieces for your bench too while you're at it. I'm a big fan of re-signing Gleyber Torres if you can get him for a cheap deal, 1-year deal. And I'm a big fan of potentially moving Bellinger over to first if you can get a big power bat for like an Anthony Santander. He's going to cost $100 million, probably 4 years, $100 million. Let me ask you this. Would you rather sign Anthony Santander to play left field for the New York Yankees for over $100 million or sign Alex Bregman for well over $200 million to be your everyday third baseman? I will say this right now, publicly, on the record, on the podcast, on the YouTube channel. Remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Alex Bregman probably couldn't find a more worst fit to play third base in Major League Baseball than he would for the New York Yankees. I think the Yankees have no business signing Alex Bregman whatsoever. I keep hearing that they're interested, they're suitors, they're keeping close tabs on Alex Bregman. Why? Alex Bregman, and I can think of 3 examples off the top of my head of why he would be a horrible fit for the New York Yankees. Number 1, he's going to cost you over $200 million. Alex Bregman, I'm sorry, is not worth over $200 million. He turned down a 6-year deal worth $156 million from his team right now, the Houston Astros, saying that Scott Boras wants to get him a deal well worth over $200 million. He's not worth that kind of money. He's not worth the headache. He's not a player caliber of a $200 million contract. Number 2, and some people will argue this with me all day long, and I'll argue back. His bat does not play in Yankee Stadium. And I'm not just saying that because he's a right-handed hitter. Christian Walker's a right-handed hitter. I think he would play well at Yankee Stadium. Judge and Stanton are right-handed hitters. They play well at Yankee Stadium. Alex Bregman, though he hits for contact, I'll give him that. His bat does not play at Yankee Stadium from a power perspective. I mean, the guy hit 260 with 26 home runs, which isn't a horrible season, but it's not a $200 million contract worth season. Playing out in the Crawford boxes in left field at Minute Maid Park. His bat plays at Minute Maid Park. It doesn't play at Yankee Stadium. You know where it plays? It plays at Fenway Park in Boston, Massachusetts for the Boston Red Sox. I'm not even ashamed to say I'd let Alex Bregman walk and go to Boston as opposed to New York, because you know the Yankees brass and the Yankee fans don't even like Alex Bregman. And number 3, and this is the most important one, if Alex Bregman didn't have any beef with anybody in the Yankees clubhouse before the Yankees traded for Cody Bellinger, he definitely has beef in the Yankees clubhouse now with the addition of Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger has gone on record saying that the Astros cheated the Dodgers out of a World Series. The Yankees, and Brian Cashman specifically, and even Aaron Judge back in the day, went on record saying that the Astros cheated them out of a potential World Series run back in 2017, if not even in 2019 too, even though there was no proof to find out that the Astros were using buzzers or cheating in any which nature. Brian Cashman is still out for vengeance there, saying that the Astros cheated in 2019 as well as 2017. So Bregman, not only is he not worth the money, not only would his bat not play in Yankee Stadium, but he's going to have beef with everybody on that roster, man. It's like Donald Trump walking back into the White House. Alex Bregman walking into that Yankees clubhouse in Tampa Bay, Florida at George M. Steinbrenner Field when pitchers and catchers report in the middle of February. It's going to be chaos. I mean, the media is going to eat that shit up, but like, I could imagine Bregman, Bellinger, and Judge all face to face. Like, there's going to be stuff that they'd have to sort out. They're professionals, and they would. But there's not going to be any love lost there. I mean, they remember what happened in those years. Alex Bregman was a catalyst of all of that. I don't think Alex Bregman is a great signing for third base. That's why I think you re-sign Glaber. I think that clears the infield problem. You re-sign Glaber for 1 year. You move Jazz over to third. You have Chisholm and Volpe who know how to work with each other on the left field and third base side. And then at second base, you have Gleyber Torres, and at first you have Cody Bellinger. Again, your infield isn't insanely dominant. Volpe and Chisholm have proven to be really good. Torres, I think you light a fire under his ass by re-signing him because he's always wanted to be a Yankee. You re-sign him. He hustles. He plays his ass off. Maybe he's a different player. He was a different hitter on October. Maybe he carries that into next season and into spring training. Cody Bellinger at first base. Although he's not like a gold glove first baseman, he's a solid defender at first, as well as a great center fielder. And then you go out and you sign an Anthony Santander, who's going to hit hopefully 40-plus home runs if he stays healthy. And then you have Aaron Judge in right, Jason Dominguez, hopefully on the prowl. If you give him 130, 140-plus games to play out there in center field, he's going to hit for hopefully high average, high home runs as well. Time will tell. We've seen 2 stints for Jason Dominguez at this point. We saw him in September of 2023, and he was the Martian. He was unstoppable. And then we saw him in September of 2024, and he just looked lost. He looked lost at the plate. He looked lost in left field. So we have 2 cups of coffee for him so far. One was amazing. One is a date that you never want to go on ever again, right? Those are the moves I would make. I don't think you go the route of signing a Christian Walker for 3 years or a Pete Alonso for 3 or 4 years. I think if you don't go the Glaber route, you basically have to give Oswald Peraza and Oswaldo Cabrera a shot to platoon every single day. I'll throw one more thing out there, and this is like way out of left field, but I've been doing my research. I've been doing my digging. The Yankees weren't willing to deal Luis Gil to the Houston Astros for Kyle Tucker. A, because I think it's the Houston Astros and you got to go through them to get to the World Series on a good year. And they've always had problems with the Houston Astros. They're basically their bitch in October. 2, you're giving up 5 years of control for Luis Gil for 1 guaranteed of Kyle Tucker before he ends up walking and asking for stupid money like Juan Soto did. I think if you're able to get a player under team control for a few years, the Yankees would be willing to deal Luis Gil. And here's what I'm thinking. And Brian Cashman may have already thought of this. I don't think that the team that would deal him to the Yankees would want to deal him, considering he's the heart and soul of their team and of their city from a baseball perspective. But what if the Yankees sent a package of, say, Luis Gil, Spencer Jones, Will Warren, and an Oswald Peraza, and maybe a Jason Dominguez for a second baseman, a switch-hitting second baseman, like Ketel Marte from the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think that's a trade you try to pull off, and that's where you make a risky trade and offer them a package that they can't refuse. The Arizona Diamondbacks' heart and soul is Ketel Marte. Ketel Marte is the Aaron Judge of the Arizona Diamondbacks. But Ketel Marte, switch-hitting second baseman, hits for power, hits for average, a solid defender at second base, came in third behind Shohei Ohtani and Francisco Lindor in the MVP voting in 2024. You put Ketel Marte at second, Volpe at short, Chisholm at third, and maybe you go ahead after that because you're not really giving up much money. You're just adding a contract. Ketel Marte is under contract through 2028, so you'd have him for 4 seasons at $16 million a year. Go sign Christian Walker. And then the right side of your infield is the Arizona Diamondbacks, right side of their infield for the past 6 seasons. You have Walker and Marte, first and second. You have Volpe and Chisholm, shortstop and third. And then you got yourself Dominguez, Bellinger, and Judge in the outfield. That's a deal I would take. That's a deal. Let me pitch it to you again. Ketel Marte, and whoever the Diamondbacks want to dump, for, say, Jason Dominguez, Luis Gil, Spencer Jones, Will Warren, and maybe throw in an Oswald Peraza. Am I an absolute clown for that? I'm waiting for the clown emojis. Am I a clown for wanting to make that deal for Ketel Marte? Those are the things I think the Yankees will do. Nonetheless, they trade for Cody Bellinger. Welcome to the Bronx, Belly. Happy to have you and your family here. Remember to comment, like, and subscribe on our YouTube channel at Jack O'Hara TV.